Good morning, and thank you to everyone for coming this morning. My name is Terrence Young. I'm the Member of Parliament for Oakville, and today we are introducing Bill C-648, an act respecting the prevention of potential health risks from radio frequency electromagnetic radiation, short title Warning Labels for Radio Apparatus Act. This is a nonpartisan bill and a nonpartisan issue, and I want to tell you, for example, the health critic for the official opposition is supporting the bill and has requested to be added on as a seconder. To my left is Frank Clegg, the president of Canadians for Safe Technology, a grassroots national organization of citizens based in my riding of Oakville, Ontario, who are engaged in informing Canadians of the potential health risks of wireless radio frequency radiation and how to use electronic wireless communications devices more safely. This bill has been inspired by this superb grassroots group out of Oakville. On my right is Wendy Coburn, a national director for C4ST. The purpose of Bill C-648 is to protect Canadians by changing the way we think about cellular telephones, Wi-Fi, portable telephones, baby monitors, and other wireless devices, by empowering them with the information they need to understand potential serious risks to their health from long-term and continuous use of these devices, and the greater risks to children. The Act is based on the well-established precautionary principle, which simply put is better safe than sorry. The same principle that all our environmental and drug safety laws have been based on for decades. That principle also manifests itself as prudent avoidance. The Canadian Wireless Technology Association reports that in 2014, there were over 28 million wireless subscribers in Canada, and growing. Today, cell phone use is ubiquitous. Warnings are issued, but the vast majority of cell phone users have never seen them. Currently, all buyers of cell phones get a little white booklet in the box with their device that frankly almost no one reads. I've never met anyone who read it, actually, except for my friends from C4ST. They contain, in a very small font, directions on how to use the device in a safe manner. Apple has recently stopped distributing the tiny manuals altogether, and the warnings must be searched deep within the text in the phone itself. These poorly profiled warnings caution users against allowing the device to touch their body when it's in use, varying from 1 centimeter away to 1 inch away from the body. The obvious question is this: if there is no risk to holding a phone to your head or putting it in your pocket or bra, why are they warning consumers? And why is the industry bearing the warnings where no one will see them? Canada's Safety Code 6 standard measures only the effects of radiation causing heat on the human body over a 6-minute period of time. Yet, Canadians for Safe Technology have brought together 140 studies from all over the world that show cell phone radiation is linked to biological effects within the human body. One of those studies shows a slight increase over a period of time of testicular cancer for young men who carry cell phones in their front pockets. Another shows that cell phone radiation might be preventing pregnancy by affecting the ability of male sperm to reach the female egg. Another shows that regular cell phone users who started as teenagers have 4 times more brain cancer 10 years later. Another study shows that men with the lowest sperm counts were far more likely to have kept cell phones in their pockets or on their body all the time. Overall, the results of these studies are deeply troubling, and they require action. Here is the basic problem. Most Canadians have no idea that their cell phones, and this BlackBerry, is not just a receiving device. It is a broadcast device. And cell phones set out a signal about every 9/10 of a second to find a cell tower as nearby as one is. And if the cell phone tower is farther away, it multiplies the strength of the signal at a very fast rate. The antenna of this device is on the back here. But note that the case, and this is a BlackBerry Z, note that the case, the phone fits into the case when it's attached to the body the right way, so the antenna is facing out. So the electricity, the radiation going into the air is searching a tower, not going through your organs or your body. But when you turn it around, you can't put it in the case. They've made it that way on purpose, so they're doing the right thing. The problem is they're not telling Canadians why. Microwave oven users are aware of the risks when cooking food, and you may notice a lot of people stand back from their microwave when they're cooking food, just as a matter of habit. But they don't realize that other devices that emit the same level of frequency, which is 2.4 gigahertz, for example, a baby monitor is beside their infant's head all night. And of course, babies' thinner skulls can't block as much of the radiation as an adult skull. Few parents realize that the Wi-Fi box just 5 feet over the heads of children in our schools is broadcasting radiation at the exact same frequency as a microwave oven, but without shielding throughout the day. Children's brains are just not as fully developed and can't block as much of the radiation as an adult brain. I believe that most parents and school board officials would act to hold off wireless networks if they knew these risks. Of course, there are no such risks if you put ordinary fiber optic or cable in our schools and the computers are plugged in. And of course, wireless or fiber optic in our cities is in almost every home. This act will help Canadians become more aware of the health risks related to cellular devices. Safety warnings will empower consumers of all ages with the information they need to change the way they use communications devices to reduce the risk from cellular radiation. Thank you. You're next.
Bonjour, mon nom est Wendy Coburn. Je suis la directrice de législation avec C4ST. J'habite à Oakville et je suis un constituant du député Terrence Young. Nous sommes ici aujourd'hui pour supporter la proposition de loi de M. Young. Et en ce qui concerne les avertissements sur les téléphones cellulaires et les routeurs Wi-Fi et d'autres dispositifs sans fil, pour assurer un emplacement impossible de manquer. Nos membres de C4ST à travers le Canada nous indiquent des symptômes de malaise en grand nombre résultant de l'utilisation obligatoire de Wi-Fi tels que dans les écoles, les tours de téléphone cellulaire près de leurs maisons et bureaux et des compteurs intelligents qui ont été installés sur les maisons sans permission ni consultation. Souvent, c'est les enfants qui souffrent le malaise. Tous ces dispositifs sans fil sont reconnus comme un danger potentiel par les fabricants eux-mêmes. Leurs avertissements sont écrits en tout petit et sont manqués. Et ces avertissements protègent seulement les compagnies qui fabriquent et distribuent les dispositifs sans fil, pas les millions de Canadiens qui les utilisent. Le but central du député Terrence Young, si les dispositifs sont sécuritaires, pourquoi est-ce que les fabricants mettent les avertissements? Et pourquoi est-ce qu'ils peuvent les mettre dans les places qui sont presque impossibles à trouver? L'Organisation mondiale de la santé a clairement dit que les téléphones cellulaires, les routeurs Wi-Fi, moniteurs de bébés et plusieurs dispositifs sans fil peuvent causer le cancer. Cette information devrait être sur le devant de l'emballage et non pas impossible à retrouver. Nous sommes encouragés de les 10 députés qui sont décidés de supporter la position de loi. De plus, nous sommes très encouragés que ce sujet rassemble les députés de tous les partis politiques pour supporter la santé de tous les Canadiens. Merci beaucoup.
Well, thank you, Wendy, and thank you, Terrence, for introducing this bill. We are very encouraged by the multi-party support that is growing for it. What I am disappointed in is the behavior of my industry. I've worked my entire career in the technology sector. When the internet became ingrained in our daily family life, I advocated, as president of Microsoft Canada, for parental controls and education. When children began to exceed their parents' understanding of computers, I helped law enforcement develop the 21st century tactics they now use to catch predators who have now moved to hiding online. Now, in the case of wireless radiation, the technology is not leading the way, It is the one who is hiding. To date, you have to go on a search mission to find the safety warnings buried in the devices that all of us use in our daily lives. None of them are proactive in providing the information needed to use their devices safely. Not Apple through to Microsoft, not Cisco, not even Bell, Rogers, and TELUS. None of them have any notices clearly visible on the products we are putting in the hands of every Canadian, especially our children. As this technology is now being marketed even to infants, my industry has the opportunity to educate all Canadians on how to use it safely for all age groups. They should take their buried warning labels and display them where they are useful, on the outside of their packages and at the point of sale. Today, I'm not just thanking Terrence Young and the MPs across Canada for their support. I am calling on the manufacturers and distributors of wireless devices to openly support this bill. The World Health Organization states that these devices emit a type of radiation that may cause cancer. In the face of this obvious product liability and danger, not one CEO from any manufacturer or wireless distributor in this country has come forward to state that their products are safe. Not one. Instead, they hide behind the public relations buffer of their industry association, who gives the same tired excuse: we meet federal standards. These standards have been denounced by Canadian medical doctors and scientists from around the world. Their declarations and letters to Health Canada are a matter of public record. The time has passed when manufacturers and distributors can say they have no liability by referencing a guideline that is over 30 years out of date, or that they have placed warnings wherein the product fine print where the buyer will never see them. Or they minimize their responsibility by referencing coffee while ignoring items such as lead and DDT, which are on that list. And I don't think anybody would say that we agree to force-feeding coffee all day long to children in schools. It's time for the company leaders in this country to answer a simple question: are your products safe, yes or no? It's a simple answer. And the answer is not, there is no consistent evidence of harm. The answer is not, we meet federal guidelines. So far, there is consistent evidence that manufacturers and distributors avoid the question. So it's time to stand up and admit what they already write in fine print. Wireless devices may cause cancer. Handle with care, and learn to use the technology safely. Thank you. If there are any questions, please, we're open to the floor. Thank you.
If we issue these federal standards, then to what extent are these warnings a Band-Aid solution? Should the real question be why not look at the federal standards and see if those should be revised instead?
Yeah, yes, the federal standards are out of date, and I think the long-term solution should be to fix and repair the standards. But that takes time. The science is still being evaluated, and Health Canada is going through a process to update Safety Code 6. And it's been a year and a half, and they're supposed to have it finalized by the end of December. It hasn't been published, so what we're saying in the interim, if the word gets out, people can start tomorrow by protecting themselves and their families. So yes, standards long-term, but today you can go now and stop putting the phone in your shirt pocket, near your heart, or in your bra, or in your front pants pocket. All these things can be happening today. So this is the short-term solution, and it can impact behavior starting right now.
How confident are you that these fines of $50,000 to $100,000 are an effective deterrent, especially when you're talking about multi-million-dollar corporations in many cases?
Yeah. Thank you for the question. The definition in the Act of the offense is per day. So the fine would be $100,000 a day. So even some of the world's largest corporations, if they're in offense of that law, they would feel that pinch of $100,000 a day. So we think that'll be a very effective deterrence.
Who in the corporation would go to jail? Because I see that in Section 7 that imprisonment is an option. So are we talking about the company CEO?
It would have to be an executive. I don't know the answer. I would think the CEO would be at risk of that. Yeah. Thanks.
Has there been any actual response from any of the retail outlets at this point, or manufacturers, to this as a proposed bill?
There's no response yet because they really don't know about it yet. The bill was just tabled just before the House rose, and so this is the first time we'd had major conversation with the national media about it. So I don't think they know about it yet.
Have there been more studies in regards to infants and mortality rates with infants and possible brain cancer? You were talking about the baby monitors per se?
There's no studies that relate to baby monitors, but there are studies that show, for example, a study out of Yale University that showed that in the womb when the mother was, for mice that were exposed to just an hour of cell phone on the top of the cage per day, that when the infants were born, they showed the symptoms of ADHD. So we are seeing behavioral responses. We haven't got a baby monitor study to answer your question specifically, but we do have studies that show the child's brains absorb 70% of the radiation from a device, whereas the adult brain typically only absorbs 10%. So because the child's brain is not only thinner, the skull is thinner, there's a lot more water in the adult's body, or sorry, the child's body, particularly the infant's brain. That so once it gets through the skull and then it stays absorbed in the brain itself.
Excuse me, may I reply to that first? Thank you. The brain cancers, the gliomas that are showing up in research are happening with regular continual use over 10 years. So I mentioned that young people who start early, they're starting to show up, or in some of the studies it's real estate agents or it's contractors who've been using cell phones for a long time by the hour every day. That's where they're starting to show up, and they show up actually sometimes in the auditory nerve, which is obviously close to where you would hold the phone if you were holding it to your head day after day after day.
Je vais essayer.
Donc, par rapport à ce que vous proposez aujourd'hui, évidemment, le fait de mettre des mises en garde sur des boîtiers lorsqu'on achète un téléphone cellulaire, c'est une avenue, mais faut-il pas aller plus loin? C'est pas dans le code de sécurité, par exemple, de Santé Canada qu'il faut agir?
Absolument. C'est vraiment quelque chose qu'on travaille pour avoir les codes de sécuritaire. C'est code de sécuritaire numéro 6. On a 140 studies, scientific studies qu'on a déjà offert à Health Canada. Puis on travaille, ça c'est le chose qu'on veut voir vraiment. C'est les avertissements, c'est une chose. Oui, je trouve que c'est un moment que les Canadiens peuvent avoir le choix dans leur vie, puis prendre d'action pour eux-mêmes, mais aussi vraiment ça devrait venir de le code de sécurité. Est-ce que j'ai...
L'organisme, vous êtes persuadé encore que les Canadiens ne connaissent pas les dangers qui sont liés aux radiofréquences et à tous ces appareils qu'on utilise qui en émettent?
On essaie d'offrir l'information, puis pour offrir les solutions aussi, comment d'utiliser l'équipement dans une façon plus sécuritaire, puis le placement aussi de l'équipement, les tours de fil proches de les maisons et les compteurs intelligents. Juste peut-être avoir le moment que je dis non, je ne veux pas avoir ça sur mon maison. C'est vraiment quelque chose qu'on veut offrir plus d'informations à toutes les Canadiennes. Merci.
If I could just comment just further on the brain cancer question. There are some health risks and harms that take decades to show, to be demonstrated. So in the 1930s in Canada, you could go into some shoe stores and put your foot down in an actual x-ray machine and see the bones in your foot wiggle when you wiggle your toes, because they didn't know the dangers. In the 1950s, there were some doctors that would actually recommend to patients who had stress that they try smoking cigarettes. They told them that would be good for their nerves. But this time is different. And this time we see the evidence. We see the evidence. We have 140, we have 140. There are more studies that show the risks. So there's no excuse this time not to warn patients, to warn Canadians about the risks.
Any concerns there with GPS?
I'm going to let Frank answer that.
Frank?
I'm trying to think
Is it
if,
online? Are we searching for satellite, searching for
yeah, I'm just trying to think.
any transmissions there?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I think you're raising a good point, though. I think there's a point about voluntary exposure and involuntary exposure. So involuntary exposure says if there's a cell tower or a smart meter or something, you really can't do much about it. We're talking about voluntary exposure here. We say you can control in your home or in your car what you do with the phone. And so, you know, and you can choose to have Wi-Fi in your house or not. So what we're really talking about today is the things that you can control and be aware and have the warning so Canadians can say, wait a minute, there is something about this phone I need to be aware of. It is in the same category as lead and DDT, so just be careful and approach it with caution. When you have a GPS system, and you're right, there's talking about cars that run by GPS and all that, so there's a lot, that's all the involuntary stuff that the regulations are going to have to actually deal with. But in the voluntary world, that's really what today's bill is all about.
Can I just comment?
Sure, of course.
As Canadians become more aware of the potential risks and they become more involved in how they use technology and they're aware of the risk to their children, I think there may be more changes coming, certainly. They may call for more changes with regards to cellular towers, et cetera. Many communities in Canada, there have been issues, public issues about the placement of cellular towers. And I originally, as a member of Parliament, wanted to try and deal with that issue. And I wrote to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and they were happy to leave it with Industry Canada after Minister Moore, our industry minister, brought in a new policy on community consultation. But I thought this is bigger, and this direction came from Frank and the folks at Canadians for Safe Technology, said let's really do something bigger. Let's change the way Canadians examine and think about the technology. I would just add one more thing if I can. Somebody asked me the other day, well, what do you do that's different? What do you do with your cell phone that's different? A number of things, and that we do, all of us that are aware. We use hands-free more often, and you can take a call on your phone and just hit a button and talk like this. Just hold it away from your head. It's very easy to do, or put it on your desk. At night, I use my BlackBerry for an alarm in the morning. I put it on at night, but I put it in airplane mode, so it's not broadcasting radiation at night. You can use texting more and calls less, which is a good thing to direct children. And then if I do take a call on my phone, I say, let me call you back on the landline. It's not a lot of trouble, but it keeps this thing away from my head. So a number of simple things people can do to reduce their exposure. Or the Bluetooth in the car, yeah.
No?
No. Bluetooth uses Wi-Fi. Yeah, so you're turning your car into a Faraday cage because you've got you're in a metal unit that's moving. And you are now have not only the cell phone that's trying to find the tower, and it's changing from tower to tower, and every time it drops the signal, it sends out a burst of more radiation because it's looking for the new tower. And then you compound that with a Bluetooth system where you're constantly bombarded by Wi-Fi. The concern about Wi-Fi is it's always going. So like in schools, right? It's always going whether you're connected or not. Your Bluetooth in your car is always going. It's always looking and talking to your phone or any device. Yes, sir. It's a double whammy. Yes. It's all about being informed and be aware. If there was a label there that says just be aware, not buried, behind about settings, legal, where they are in all the phones and tablets, people would just be aware and use it less. Or use it smarter. Or our term is use it safer. That's what we're really trying to talk about.
Could I just comment, Frank? The parents who want to use baby monitors, they sell baby monitors in Europe that aren't on all the time. In fact, it only comes on when there's a noise in the room, when the baby makes a noise. So that would be imminently safer. And you can buy portable phones for your house that only come on when the phone rings instead of radiation all 24 hours a day.
What's interesting is that a lot of people are turfing their landlines altogether, just going strictly with cell phones.
Yes.
So this would encourage people to keep their landlines.
It might.
Because even in my own family, because we have 3 cell phones, $150 a month, plus the landline, it seems redundant having a landline. But if there's a health risk, people should reconsider that.
You see, the marketing plans of the cellular companies are not just about people talking on the phone and texting. The marketing plans are for people to use their phone to watch the Raptors and the Maple Leafs and to watch movies and sporting events on their handheld device. So they're building a network that's strong enough to reach every corner of your household. But it's not that difficult to put in that blue wire with 5 little wires, and it's called Cat5, in your house and plug in your devices so you reduce your exposure.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you.